they just would have attempted the 64-yard field goal, maybe. I remember how he said, well, if it ends in a Jake Elliott field goal in overtime, I'd be happy with that, or at least it'd be a win. At least it would be a win, I think that's how I said it. But you can't have that if you don't even try. His first season as a head coach and Carson Wentz's first year as a quarterback in the league, this season was it was they were just basically running out the string at that time. It was a loss. It was a losing season, but they were in Baltimore, and it's a close game. Eagles, Carson Wentz scored a touchdown, and they were down by one with whatever seconds to go, and instead of tying the game, going to overtime, they went for two and lost. They didn't get the 2-point conversion, lost the game. It came under some criticism, but there were also, how I looked at it is you went for the win. You were being aggressive. You were showing something. Even though it's a losing season, whatever, you're showing something. Going for it. Believing in your players, believing in your system, balls, right? The next year, ironically enough, week 3, 2017, the year they win the Super Bowl. Ironic. Home game, tight game, hot day out there. Tight game against the division rival Giants. Back and forth, right? Comes down to it at the end. Seconds to go. Long field goal with a kicker who, at that point, he still didn't really have a name to himself, for the team in Jake Elliott. But you believed in him. 61-yard field goal. They go for it. They get it. And it puts them on it started that run that they had, all the way to winning Super Bowl 52, even with all the injuries, right? Aggressive, showing balls, going for things. And not going for them at the jeopardy of the team, of losing games. Being aggressive. And having to do it, out dueling Belichick in the Super Bowl. Fast forward to this year. The team's 0-2. You're playing an 0-2 Bengals team. And I know it's a 64-yard field goal or whatever. It would have been a long one of those longest in the history of the league if Elliott kicked it, but he showed you he can kick a long one before. More times than not, he's been good with the long field goals. But instead, we're going to punt the ball. That's a loser's mentality. And I get it. If they missed the field goal, if the Bengals didn't have any timeouts, maybe they have a long play at the sidelines, they go for the winning field goal, and then you're being second-guessed, why'd you go for the long field goal? Well, you go for the long field goal there because you believe in your players. You go for the long field goal there because you want to win the game. You don't want to settle for a tie. Why do you want to settle for a tie against the Cincinnati Bengals? But, of course, this game was a lot more than just that moment. That's the latest thing we remember, so that's the thing that's going to get, rehashed over and over again. It didn't even have to come down to that. Yet again, we had a game where it wasn't good enough by the coaching staff, wasn't good enough by the players, and it still falls back on Howie Roseman with the poor drafts, the poor decision-making in recent years. When you have, surprise, surprise, more players go down with injury because it's another week. And every week Eagles are going to go down to injury. So you lose Dallas Goedert during the game. And shocker, Deshaun Jackson has a groin injury. He's out. Boy, going through a season and hoping that he stays healthy. That's, yeah. God love D-Jax. He's been a terrific Eagle. But, the man cannot stay healthy. But again, Howie decides to draft J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who wasn't on the field. He was basically a healthy scratch during the game. Because he sustained some injury, but it was an injury he could have played through. But the Eagles didn't want to get him back out there because they just said, no, we're good. You just forget the fact D-Jax is out, Dallas Goedert is out. No, we don't need you out there. He's not good enough to be out there. DK Metcalf is good enough to be out there. Any of these other receivers from a season ago that were drafted would have been good enough to be out there. But not the guy Howie had interest in. Not J-Jaw. He's not good enough to be out there. And in a game that, look, there were mistakes. Quarterback is still not playing good enough. I am very disappointed in his play. I'm very disappointed in him because I believed in him. And for all I know, the guy can turn it around and have a season, but I'm not seeing anything. Even though they got the tying touchdown late that he scored and a nice drive there and going for it for the touchdown, all right. But Carson's still missing receivers, high, wide open receivers. Miles Sanders would have been a touchdown. I didn't remember seeing the play on the broadcast, but listening to the post game on the radio afterwards. Apparently there was a play where you had Hightown. I know I gave him the wrong name. Apologies on the last video. I said Westbrook. I don't know. Eagle fan. Sometimes names pop in the head, and Westbrook, of course, from years ago. But of course, Hightower was open, and apparently Wentz looked at him and didn't throw him the ball for a big play downfield. Is that Wentz being gun shy, not believing in himself? Two more interceptions, horrible interceptions, horrible. And I know the ball was tipped. That would have been an interception either way. Adam Archuleta made the comment, and he's right. And he when you have 2-0-2 teams going at, you're going to have the C team on TV. And that's basically what that was. And by the way, I think he should probably just send Joe Burrow a bouquet because he really has a man crush on it. I'll tell you what, Archuleta loves himself some Joe Burrow. Good-looking young quarterback he is. And I think Cincinnati's in good hands with him. He made some plays. But, I mean, he was going on about him like he was Tom Brady. It's like, oh. But no, what in the world is Wentz thinking throwing that ball? There's a linebacker right there. It's like he was throwing it right. And I know the ball got tipped, but even if it didn't, the ball's going right to the linebacker. And the other another one of these just poor throws. And it's unacceptable. And to me, it's more unacceptable if this is because the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts. Come on, man, you gotta man up. You gotta show that you're still the alpha. You gotta say, hey, this guy takes the job from me when I say he does. Well, maybe now he's saying he does. But you gotta step up. I said before, there's been many quarterbacks who have still, even though the team drafts their replacement, they show up. They say, you're going to take this from me. You're not taking this from me. You're not. And I'm going to show you why. And Carson's out there missing receivers, holding the ball too long, bad interceptions. Can't have that with your starting quarterback that's been a starter in this league for 5 years. And like I said, ever since that injury against the Rams, he just hasn't been the same. It just hasn't been. And he had flashes last season with practice squad guys having success. Nice 4-game streak, winning some games. But for the most part, just hasn't been good enough. Mistake after mistake, holding the ball too long, overthrowing receivers, missing wide open receivers. And I know that I don't think the organization did a good enough job at putting good enough weapons around him at the wide receiver position. But they have talented tight ends. They have a good running back, which again today for some reason, even though you're going against a porous run defense, you're not handing the ball off to Miles Sanders enough, including in a time in a game when you didn't have Deshaun Jackson out there and you don't have Dallas Goedert out there. There was a series in the game where the Eagles went 3 and out. They didn't try to hand the ball off once. And they started the drive with their, the bubble screen. Oh, they love the bubble screen. Oh, my God. Every time they throw the bubble screen, I said, well, here comes a loss of yards. Every time. They don't know how to run the damn thing, but they love to call that bubble screen. But you're not giving the ball off enough to your top playmaker. In that game at that time, it was Miles Sanders. And even when he was open, you're missing him with passes for what could have been a touchdown or a big gainer, at least a move the sticks type of play. Not good enough. And I don't want to hear excuses. I'm tired of excuses. These teams in this city just love it with these excuses, and I can't take it anymore. I can't. Defensively, again, not good enough. And they had 8 sacks on Burrow, and they pressured him. The defensive line did a really good job. And that's a poorest offensive line they have in Cincinnati. But still, great job by them. Including in the overtime when the Bengals had good field position, they didn't let them get in the field goal range to win the game. Defensive line did their job, but again, the linebackers, it's a joke. Secondary, red zone, touchdowns. Wide open receivers in the end zone. Miscommunications. Not good enough. I'll give it to Big Play Slay. He gets hurt, the hand or whatever, he comes back. He plays a nice. He did good. He's supposed to. That's the one guy you can count on in the secondary for the most part. But I'm sorry, but Burrow's favorite target is Boyd. Do we want to cover him at all? At all? No, just gonna let him get open all the time. Okay. Again, 3rd and long. We're gonna play the sticks defense. Good. So you're going to have a wide open dump-off play to Giovanni Bernard, and he goes all the way for a first down and then some. You take those points off the board for the Bengals, that touchdown drive the Eagles score with Carson Wentz, that wins the game. We're not going to overtime. Maybe if Carson Wentz hits Miles Sanders on that play for the touchdown. Other plays that could have been made and should have been made by a quarterback that's been in the league for 5 years now. You hit on those plays, you get points, you win the game. Because the bottom line was, and I know Joe Burrow made some plays, but he was being harassed the whole game. He was being sacked. He was being hurried. The defensive line, they had a good game. But the Eagles' offense, just not good enough. And in some cases, the Eagles' defense not good enough. The play calling in the red zone, I don't get it. It's every time it's a touchdown. They never settle for the opposing offense is not settling for field goals against this defense in the red zone. It's touchdown after touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. It's like, God damn it, guys! At some point, make a stop. And yet again, we go through another week where there's no turnovers by the defense, no fumbles, no interceptions, nothing against a rookie quarterback. And I know he's good, Joe Burrow. And he's Cincinnati. You're in good hands with him. He's going to be good. Need to give him a little help on the offensive line, maybe but overall he's going to be good. He's a good one. But damn it, hold him to get a turnover. Get a turnover. No? It's like watching the same game every week. It's like DVRing a game and watching it every week, every Sunday. It's the same game. It's the same things. It's the same problems. It's the same ineptness. The coaching staff getting out coached, not, situational coaching isn't good on this team. The players just aren't getting it done. Injuries every week. No, it wasn't a loss. Well, it wasn't a win either. This was a loss. I don't care if it was a tie. It's a loss. It's a must-win game at home. And I know there's no fans in the crowd. Thank God in some ways, right? Imagine the fans watching this. It's just like, the Phillies thing. I mean, look. And I know I missed going to the ballpark this year. I'm a partial season ticket holder for the Phillies. I missed it. But my God, watching that bullpen on TV, can you imagine watching that in person? Oh God, no way. Again, thank you, Phillies, for another below 500 season, even in a year where 8 teams make the playoffs out of the National League. You couldn't be one because wonderful Clentac and McPhail, anyone who has fail in their name, why are you bringing him here? But anyhow, Clentac and McPhail, the gems that they are, don't know how to put a bullpen together. And we're not going to extend JT Realmuto too. Well, no, don't worry. We gave it one of our top prospects as a pitcher in years in Sixto Sanchez to get him. Nah, we'll just wait. We'll wait. He'll be on a New York team next year, Yankees or Mets. And I said this before, I'll say it again, man. People wonder why the Philadelphia fan has a lot of agita and booze and does all that. Well, look at the teams. What in the world do we have? Since sports has returned, it's been nothing but bad. I'll give the Flyers a pass because they at least showed a pulse. Okay? I know that the loss in Game 7 4-0, but look, they at least, they did something. They did something. These other teams are just a bunch of jokes. Pathetic. But this series is about the Eagles, and that's what I'll keep to. Oh, I can go on about the Phillies and Sixers. Oh, I can go on. And I know the Sixers are going to make a big mistake if they hire D'Antoni. And that's exactly who they'll hire. Because when do the Sixers ever do anything good anymore? But the Eagles, it's a problem. And the most frustrating thing about it, like I said, these coaches have been here. These players have been here. It's not all new. It's not a rookie coach and a rookie quarterback. Carson Wentz is out there looking like the roles are reversed today. And I know Burrow got sacked a bunch. He was hurried a bunch, but he made some throws. He threw some touchdown passes. I know Wentz had his 100 touchdown passes as an Eagle, and all respect to that. But it's like Wentz looked like a rookie out there. I mean, just bad missed passes. Bad overthrows. Even the bomb, like the first play of the game was an overthrow. And it's just horrible interceptions. And it's just, and again, going into this season, he was not an interception machine. And every week now, he's throwing at least 2 a game. And again today, another 2. Drive killers, momentum stoppers. It's just one mistake after another, and this defense doesn't get turnovers. So when you have a defense that's not getting turnovers and your offense is turning over the ball, it's a mixture for disaster. And that's what it's been. Through 3 weeks, there's no wins on the board. And it's like I said before, the difference in football than the other sports. The other sports, hey, look, the Phillies blow a game. There's another game the next day, and then their bullpen will blow another one. But at least there's another game coming up. The NBA, the NHL, it's game after game after game. In football, it's once a week. And depending on what your team does is going to be what mood you're going to have for the week, right? They lose, you're going to be down. You're going to be saying, oh, they could have done this. They could have done. It's the what if game, right? They win, it's, but even if they won today in overtime, it's still like, I would have taken it, don't get me wrong, but it would have been like, yeah, but we're still making the same damn mistakes. And you have to deal with it for a week until the next game. Now, I can't sit here and truthfully tell you that things are going to be okay because I look at the teams that they're going up against in the next few weeks in the 49ers, the Steelers, and the Ravens, and I'm just going to keep it the 1 week at a time. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I'm not going to look too far ahead. But I told Rez flat out on Facebook, Resurrection, of course, shout out to him. I'm like, no, I can't believe this team's going to win a game. against the 49ers. I don't care what, the 49ers have injuries. Okay. Even the healthy players on the Eagles aren't producing. And we have a lot of injuries, and now Goddard looks like he's going to... Oh, my God, what the heck is Cam Newton wearing? Oh. His fashion sense... You know what? It's better I'm not a fashion guy. I mean, is that fashion what he's wearing? I don't... I'm sorry, I'm just at NFL Network's on. I got Cam Newton's wearing some sort of... The white hat and the... I would take him, though. But, oh, my God, those... But anyhow, we move on from that. No, it's tough, you know. It just is. Can't make the mistakes that they've made, and it's just it's tough, man. It's tough to go through it. But yeah, like I was telling Rez, I don't see a way that they're going to win the game next week against the 49ers. The 49ers could start whoever they want at quarterback, and you know, I know they have a lot of injuries. We have a lot of injuries too. Like I said, Dallas Goedert's out, and I every week they're losing someone. At least one player on offense, and you know, I don't know. You can't keep going to the well. Like last year, they got away with it. They won the 4 games. They made the playoffs. Won the division. It's a bad division. It's still a bad division, and I don't take any solace from Dallas losing. Because look, when you're 0-2-1, you know, tying the Cincinnati Bengals at home, can we really feel good about Dallas losing today to Seattle? I mean, they at least show a pulse. Okay, they came back 2 weeks in a row from double-digit deficits. I know the Falcons lost again today with the double-digit deficit. Nicky Six. Hey, Nick Foles. He's on an undefeated team right now in the Bears. But, no, I will say this. I was sitting there watching that game, and it just felt like deja vu. I'm like, you know, the Phillies are done. The Eagles lost. Dallas is going to do another double-digit deficit win. I can't deal with this. I can't. And they lost. But hey, look, I mean, but they're making plays. You know, maybe there's a few things that they can fix, and it might get better there. Here, I can't see how this is going to get better. I can't. And I know the track record of the Eagles in recent years is you get off the slow starts and you come back in the second half of the season and you're in the playoffs. You can't count on that every year. And part of the problem here, and after the Super Bowl year, this team has gotten off the slow starts every year. And that falls on the coaches. I'm sorry. I know the players are on the field. They're the ones that are making or not making the plays. But the coaching staff has to get this team ready before a season, pandemic or whatever it is, or regular season. This team's gotten off the slow starts. You got to be better than that. And, you know, the best this team looked this season is up 17-0 against the Washington football team, and we know how that ended. 27 unanswered points. And by the way, that was their only win this season. To this point. It's unacceptable. And it's routinely, every year they're off to a slow start. Slow out of the gates. And then they go on a run second half of the end. They've showed a lot of resilience. And that's true. That is something to be said about that. They don't give up. But still, it falls on the coaching staff. And it falls on the players too. But the coaching staff, you got to get the team ready before a season. It has to be better. And you cannot use the situation this year as an excuse, because I've seen all these other teams I'm seeing getting off the better starts and offensively looking good. Defensively looking good. And the Eagles just blah. Again, man, no creativity in this offense. It's boring. It's boring to watch. I mean, Wentz made some plays with his feet today because he had to. I mean, Jason Peters. Oh. And look, he's a future Hall of Famer, and he's earned it. But, oh, boy, I think he probably should have just called it a career after last season because he is looking bad. He really is. But Wentz, he made some plays with his feet today. He was mobile. He kept plays alive. But then he's missing open receivers. And he scored a big touchdown at the end, and it will be forgotten about now because they tied. They didn't win the game. But at the same time, you didn't have to be in a situation where that was the tying touchdown. There were too many mistakes before that. And just mistakes that a team that had players that had been in the league this long shouldn't be making. Coaching staff that's been coaching for this long shouldn't be making. And a front office with Howie Roseman not being able to draft very well. So even if this team ends really poorly and gets a top pick in the draft, if Howie's still here, I can't depend on him drafting well. They'll draft the one bust out of the first 3 picks. There's not a good track record with him drafting. For every Miles Sanders or Zach Ertz or Lane Johnson that he's hit on, there's about 10 other players that they don't. And in recent years, the drafting has been piss poor. Piss poor. You can't depend. I've said this before, and it's true. You can't depend on free agency and on trades. You have to hit in the draft. More times than not. And you're not going to hit on every single player. No team does. No matter where they pick. No team does. There's been teams that have been poor at different positions for years, right? No team drafts perfectly. Some teams make it look like they do. But there's mistakes. But you have to still hit on more of those picks than you don't, so you don't have to just do everything like fantasy football where you have to bring in this guy off free agency, that guy in the draft, that guy free agency. It can't work that way. That's how you kill your cap as well, as the Eagles have done. And yeah, they're paying Carson Wentz, but I mean, how many other draft picks are they paying? I mean, paying, right? A lot of the guys they're paying right now have been free agent pickups. Maybe a trade here or there. But even with that, Howie's been asleep at the wheel. And he was asleep at the wheel last year when there were players that could have been available that you could have gone after. He was at the sleep at the wheel again this offseason when you had some players. And you didn't have to throw a ton of money at some of these players, but they would have been improvements on what you have right now. Again, it's bad. It's bad all across the board. The front office, the coaching staff, the players. And the thing that sucks the most is, look, it's just a few years after winning a Super Bowl. This shouldn't happen. But in Philly, we can't have nice things, I guess. The Phillies won a World Series, and, they got to another one. They were respectable. They had good seasons, but never got back after losing in 2009, right? Even with a great pitching staff. Now the Eagles, they win a Super Bowl a few years ago, and, well, they're lost. And I know it's hard to stay on top, and some teams and franchises and cities make it look very easy. It's not. But this team should be better right now. It should be better here right now than 0-2-1. The quarterback should be better. The head coach should be better. Some of the other players on this team who have been here for a while should be better than what we're seeing right now. And again, you can't use the COVID as an excuse for this. The offseason, the lack of the offseason. You can't. It's the same for the Eagles. It's the same for every team in the league had to go through it. And there are teams in there right now who are 3-0 and looking really good. Or 2-1, or whatever it is, they certainly look better than the Eagles. And they had the same situations in their offseason as the Eagles did. Same. No excuses. I don't want to hear excuses. I want results. As a fan, that's all I want is results. But like I said, man, too often anymore in this town are we hearing excuses from our various teams. And it's unacceptable. It just is. And the Eagles, like I said, man, it's a hard road to home right now. You see the schedule that's there. I don't know where their next win's going to come. I have no idea. Going to be on the hamster wheel here week after week. Like I said, so you can set it up like a DVR. You know what's going to happen next week. Probably going to be another injury or two. There's going to be open receivers that Wentz isn't hitting. There's going to be plays that aren't made. The coach is going to get out coached. The defense is going to, not be able to hold in the red zone. Again, 3rd and long. Now we're going to have the sticks defense out there that they convert. No turnovers. Again, like I said, I forget if I said I may have. No, again, another week. No turnovers by this defense. None. Yeah, they got pressure on Burrow. 8 sacks. Great. But no turnovers. There comes a time where you do have to take the ball away from the other team, other than punts. Just not good enough. Not good enough. And again, Doug's decision to punt instead of going for the long field goal, I mean, that in a nutshell just tells you all you need to know about this season. Wins don't matter. Now, don't believe in your players. That's the last thing a coach can do. And it's unacceptable. This guy's been in the league now 5 years, won a Super Bowl. That decision was ridiculous. And look, if Elliott misses the 64-yard field goal, but you go for it. You don't punt the ball there. The Bengals don't have any timeouts. There's few seconds to go. You go for the win. Because as ugly as the game was, hey, look, Elliott makes a 64-yard field goal to win the game. It still gives us a little something. You feel, okay, what an incredible kick. What a great win, And instead, he punts it. And I know at times Doug has been aggressive where he shouldn't have been, maybe going for it here on a 4th down when the offense wasn't really doing that good or what have you. But in that situation, even though it's a long kick, there's no weather, there's no wind, no rain. It was a perfect day out there. You kick the ball. You go for the win. So a disappointing end to another disappointing game, another disappointing week. And now we got to, wait another week, and it's a road game in San Francisco. I can't be very positive about this game, whoever the 49ers have on their roster next week. I can't, man. I don't care who they're playing. If they would have played the Giants next week, if they would have played whoever, you can't feel positive about, we can turn it around. What if they showed us at all to have any kind of hope in them turning it around? Well, the defense got 8 sacks today. Okay. You also couldn't stop them in the red zone. You also couldn't stop them on 3rd and 15. And if they don't get points on that drive, that touchdown by Wentz wins the game. Instead of it going to overtime, we know how that went. Ending in a tie. But it's Eagles-Bengals. I guess there has to be a tie. This is now twice that they've tied that I can remember. The Eagles Nation, look, this has been disappointing all around this season. I don't know what to say about the coaching staff, about our quarterback. I mean, and I still don't think you put in Jalen Hurts. I haven't seen him throw a pass, and I know Wentz is missing, but I haven't seen Jalen Hurts throw a pass in the league. I can't say he's going to be the difference maker. I have no idea what Jalen Hurts is and what he isn't. I have no idea. He got a first down today, running, okay. But I don't think it's time to throw Jalen Hurts in the fire. I think he just got to roll, ride the string right now. And the only thing as a fan we got to hope for is Wentz gets better as he gets his confidence back. Because it's just a lack of confidence. enough of the looking over the shoulder, and I know. I mean, look, he was a league MVP, goes down against the Rams. The backup comes in, Nick Foles, who, in one of the game today for the Bears, comes in there and wins the Super Bowl against the Patriots. And then the following season, Wentz goes down, Foles is in there, goes to the playoffs, wins a double doink game in Chicago. Ironically, now he's the Bears quarterback, right? But, and has success. And then Wentz has got to feel like, what do I got to do, right? Then he comes back the following season. Foles is now in Jacksonville. Wentz is there, and it's a rocky season, right? And then he goes on that run at the end with the practice squad receivers in there, and they win the division. They take it away from Dallas, and they go to the playoffs, and then he gets cheap hit by Clowney, and that's it for his playoffs, right? And then they lose the game, and that's it for the season. And in the offseason, they go ahead and they draft Jalen Hurts. So in a way, I understand the look over the shoulder. But you're still the starter. You got to show why you're the starter. It's like I said before, you see other quarterbacks do it. You think if the Seahawks, and Russell Wilson's been in the league longer than Carson Wentz, right? If the Seahawks drafted a guy this offseason, that Russell Wilson's gonna say, oh yeah, it's okay, he can take over my job. No. He's gonna show them why he still has to be on the field. Aaron Rodgers has done it. Other quarterbacks have done it. And injuries withstanding, Carson, you got to do it. You got paid, man. You have got to show why you belong on that field in the Eagles' midnight green as a starting quarterback. You got to show it. You can't shrivel up and play some of your worst football in your career because they drafted Jalen Hurts, a guy who's never thrown a pass in his NFL career. You're going to let him take the ball from you? Or are you going to go out there and going to show why you're the starting quarterback? Because it's unacceptable the way this guy's playing these first 3 weeks. Guy's been in the league for this long. It's easy throws that he's missing. It's bad interceptions that he's throwing. Needs to be better. Regardless of what this season is, he has to be better. Doug's got to be better as a coach. Are you kidding me? Enough of the excuses on the and talking down to reporters. Oh, were you a quarterback in the NFL? Yeah, you were, Doug. You didn't win a lot of games as a quarterback in the NFL, so I wouldn't talk about being a quarterback in the NFL. All due respect. It's not like you were out there lighting the world on fire as a quarterback. Some would say you've had a better career as a coach. You weren't necessarily Brett Favre out there, Doug. I remember you as a quarterback with the Eagles. Again, all due respect. So enough of the excuses. Enough. You've been in this league for too long to be going on rolling out excuses every week. Same with Carson. It needs to get better. I can't depend on Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz is what he is. That defense is what it is. It's not going to change. It's not. It's the defense that it's been for years. On 3rd and long, we're going to play sticks defense. They don't get enough turnovers. They never get enough turnovers. Okay, it's the same. It is what it is. He blitzed more today. He'll go next week. They will hardly blitz against the 49ers. You know what you're getting out of Jim Schwartz. There's no difference. But I got to see more out of Doug. I got to see more out of Carson. And if we don't see more out of Carson, can we really believe that Doug's going to be doing things with Jalen Hurts? Huh? Can we really? And I know they filtered the offense for Nick Foles when Nick Foles was the quarterback opposed to Wentz. They adjusted, right? The RPOs. So Jalen Hurts comes in. Maybe the offense is a little different, but has Doug showed a lot of creativity here, week after week? It's the same offense week after. There is no change. And again, this week you should have ran the ball more. You should have used Miles Sanders. He's your playmaker. Particularly when D-Jax and Goddard are off the field, you need your playmakers to step up. Give him the ball. No. We're going to keep throwing the ball with Wentz when he has no confidence in himself. We're going to forget that the Bengals have a piss-poor run defense. Yeah, it's a lot of bad. It's just I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot of positives that you can take. Yeah, 8 sacks, okay. It's just no. And worse. The worst part of today. The worst part is punting the ball at the end. We don't want to win. More than likely aren't going to lose, but we don't want to win. We're not going to go for it. Here you go. It's a loser's mentality, and this is a guy who won a Super Bowl years ago. It's a loser's mentality, and you can't have that. Not in this town. Can't do that. So, another week. It's not a win we can talk about. It's not a loss we can talk about, but it is. In my mind, this was a loss. It's a loss. Maybe it doesn't say it in the standings, but it is. It's a loss. You kidding? And now going into a week where you're going to San Francisco against a good team, a team that's still playing good even with injuries. Took care of the Giants today. I know the Giants aren't very good, but still, they took care of business today against the Giants. Took care of business last week against the Jets. And they're a good team. They were in the Super Bowl a year ago. They're well coached. They'll be prepared. Can I say that about the Eagles? I can't say that right now, that they'll be prepared for next week. They've showed me no reason to believe otherwise to this point. And it's like I said, the worst thing is to have this with a football team where you have to go through agita through a week after a loss or a tie, and there's no positives, and you have no belief that they can turn it around. There's just no belief in that, and it sucks because, like I said, football's the sport where it's the hardest to have to feel that way because it's once a week. But I have no faith in them winning next week against the 49ers. I have none. Like I said, they could play the Giants next week or the Jets. I don't think I could go into the next week against whoever they were playing and feel confident. Not after this start, not after 0-2-1. Not the way the quarterback's playing, the coach is coaching. The defense can't stop anybody in the red zone. They let teams get to the red zone and they can't stop them. When they get in the red zone, they don't hold them to field goals. It's touchdowns. But, the defense, again, look, they showed me a little. Particularly in the overtime, they stopped Cincinnati a few times when they had good field position. At least they did that. But it's just too much. Too much of it overall was bad again today. It's a winnable game. It's a winnable game. Joe Burrow's a good quarterback. He's going to be a good quarterback, but that's a winnable game. That's a team that you should beat. At this point, it's still a team you should beat. And they tied. Because, of course, they did. Um, I don't know, Eagles Nation. I feel the pain. I look forward to football. I look forward to the Eagles. I look forward to football every year, even in a year like this. Maybe even more so in a year like this. And this is what we've had so far. Hoorah! Maybe we should go back to the cornhole championships. I don't know. I just it's frustrating. It's maddening. It's another week where we're going to have all these questions that won't have answers, and we're going to be banging our head against the wall, saying what could have been, what could have been. Why is the quarterback playing this way? Why is Doug coaching this way? And until we see any different, this is what we're going to have to go through week after week, and it sucks. The worst thing to have is a season where, like this, with just, every game's going to be, what ifs and what could have beens. And like I said, I can't really, if Howie's still here after this season, I can't trust him to do well in the draft. So even if they have a high draft pick, I can't trust him to draft well. Arcega-Whiteside over Metcalf. I can't. We're going to get through this together, Eagles Nation. Another week, we're going to have to deal with it. It is what it is. Eagles are 0-2-1. They're playing against a good 49er team next week. Probably going to be another loss. If I'm being honest, it's probably going to be another loss. But we'll see. Stranger things have happened. And I will be back again next week to look forward to, to go on about the game against the pregame about the game against the 49ers in week 4. And then, of course, after the game I would imagine it'd be another video like this, but we'll see. Sports is you just never know, but I kind of do. But it's tough, man. I hate feeling this way. I do. Because I love the Birds. I love our teams. But they don't love me back. More times than not. They drive me nuts. But I'm there for them. I'm rooting I'm trying. And it's just blah. I don't have a game ball in hand here, but if I did, I want to give a game ball to the Fandemics, the group of the Phillies fans who none of the Eagles deserve it. The heck with that. But the the Fandemics were the group of the Philly fans who were at the Phillies games outside the stadium with the air horns and the cowbells and the drum line and making noise and making their voices heard, even in a season where he didn't have fans in the stands, even in a season where they put together a worse than Little League bullpen. The Fandemics was the one, look, it was the constant, right? In good times and bad, and good wins and mostly losses, but the Fandemics were there. Even in a year where Philly fans couldn't be in the stands, they were there, and they were heard, and it was the one city that you could hear the fans of the team even though they weren't in the stadium. It's unique. It was a unique thing to Philly that they did that. I give a lot of credit to those guys and gals who were out there for the Phillies. It's a shame they didn't give us a good year. I hope for better things, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I hope changes are made this offseason with the front office, but they have a lot to be commended for because you talk about the Philly fan and everyone says they're horrible ogres and booing and everything. But that's the Philly fan right there. The ones that wouldn't stay away from their team even though they weren't allowed in the stadium. They were there, and they were there for every single game, making noise, cheering, doing the things that these fans do. And it's a unique thing to this area. It just is. It's a love affair with teams that for most of the time they let us down, but we're still going to be there for them. And we're still going to cheer, and we're still going to hope for good things. And, them out there doing what they did, I give them a lot of credit, and I commend them for that because they showed the good. They showed what this fan base really is in this town, what this town really is. At the end of the day, it's a bunch of people, men and women, who love the teams. who care, who want to see these teams win. That's why we get frustrated. You know, we're not making these videos or doing these things because we have apathy. We want change. We want these teams to be good because we care. It matters to us. Maybe to a fault at times. But it matters to us that these teams succeed. And maybe they'll throw us a bone every now and then with a World Series or a Super Bowl or even a national title. But for most more times than not, it's agita, it's what could have been, it's why, it's moves that weren't made, it's players that weren't drafted, it's players that were drafted, it's decisions that were made that, you know, could have been better, games that could have gone better, but the fans are always there. And in this town, they're always there, thick or thin, particularly with the Eagles. The Eagles, it never stops. But the Fandemics, they are certainly to be commended. Absolutely. Look, the Phillies didn't make the playoffs again this season, but those men and women who were rooting, they're the champions. They're the champions of this baseball season. No matter what team ends up winning the title, those fans, what they did, and they showed that love for that franchise and that organization, and also showing that you can't keep Philly fans away. At the end of the day, the Philly fans will find a way to watch their team. Okay? And those group of people who were there outside Citizens Bank Park, outside the gates on the ladders, making noise without, like I said, with the air horns and drums and everything, they're absolutely to be commended. They got some really nice pub around the nation, and deservedly so. They did an awesome job, and my hat goes off if I was wearing one, it would go off. And again, the game ball goes to the Fandemics. And here's hoping that we can go to games next season, but we'll have to wait till then to find out if we can. But anyhow, like I said, tough one tonight. Today, a tie to the Bengals. 23-23 is the score, and they're 0-2-1 on the season. Hey, the rest of the division isn't that good. Dallas lost. The Giants, the Washington football team, all lost today. Everyone loses in the division today. But still, you can't count on the other teams. Eagles got to take care of their own business. Hopefully it gets better. I don't see it getting better, but stranger things have happened. All right, everyone. Well, here's my 50-plus minute rant on the game. Thanks for joining. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And please, if you do, click the bell icon so you'll get notified for future vids. And also leave that thumbs up. God knows I need the thumbs up. Come on. These teams have just been... Look, the thumbs down is the team. So on YouTube, at least you can leave that thumbs up. And feel free to leave comments below. All right, everyone. It's another day. We're going to get through this. We'll get through this. And we'll move on to San Francisco. Oh, joy. But anyhow, I will see you all in the next vid. Take care. Yeah, go Birds. Yeah. All right. Bye.